Well guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be trying out the classic 350 from Royal Enfield. I've been really excited to give this girl a go and just see how these little 350s go. I haven't tried out the any of the 350 range, the Media or the classic, and I'm really excited to give this a go. So these are a 20 horsepower 350cc air cooled. I believe they're a 5-speed transmission, but we'll sort that out in a minute. So this one's got aluminium rims on them, but as you can see by the one in the background there, it does come with wire spoke depending on what option you decide to get. This one's a nice little test ride. We're going to take it out on our usual road to Raglan and see how we get on. So it's Royal Cars and Royal Cars and Motorcycles as they're called these days, and they've been kind enough to allow me to ride all kinds of bikes in here to be able to share with you guys, and also to be able to share my experiences and to be able to sort out what kind of bikes I want to be having in my stable in the near future. They've got a couple of other ones coming in very soon. I've just graduated to my full license, so I'll probably take a look at some of their full powered options at some stage as well. But this is 40 Noob NZ. This is about 40-year-old guys and girls getting into motorcycles and which one's going to suit you for what you need to be doing. Now all of these bikes come with a centre stand, which is fantastic for doing bike maintenance and being able to adjust that back wheel, which you have to do on a relatively regular basis when you have a chain driven motorcycle. About every couple of thousand k's I'm finding with my bikes. Now there is the option of having tripper navigation on this. It goes into that port there, but they're having a bit of a shortage around the world of technology at the moment because of COVID. So let's have a bit of a quick walk around to the bike. You can see it's got grab handles on there, and what a beautiful bike it is. Can't complain about this at all. The fit and finish on it is very, very nice. The welds on it are beautiful. All the way around the bike, I haven't been able to find anything on this so far that would alert me to something adverse. I really like the fact that they've actually matted out the engine casing. The Bi-Bree brakes on it, they're owned by Brembo. It seems that most most brakes are owned by Brembo these days. They're doing a bit of a buy-up around the place. Just twin shocks on the back, a non-adjustable shocks on the front. So let's take this out for a bit of a cruise, and I'll give you my thoughts and feelings on it. Okay, this is the first time I've gotten to sit on the bike, and I'll say to you now that it was a little bit taller than I was expecting it to be. It didn't feel, or it didn't look like it was tall when I first got on it, but it certainly feels tall now, and the seat's quite wide but quite plush. So we have we're going to turn the key to on. That's always good, and then there is the kill switch here, and by just turning that to the left, it starts the motorcycle. So this one's got 59 k's on it. Sounds lovely. Little pop from the exhaust. Sounds lovely. The clutch is very, very light. The brakes are very, very light. I've just got off my Suzuki V-Strom. I can tell you right now that the brakes feel, the brake lever feels much nicer. So let's go for a bit of a cruise and see what we think. Alright. Well, the position that it puts you in immediately puts you into a good posse for hugging the tank. So that's going to be a really interesting thing. It feels very solid, I think is probably the word I want to use, insofar as your steering is concerned, and it feels like you're almost over the top of the front wheel, which is an interesting thing for me. it really doesn't feel like anything I've ridden before. Now, I should let you know that I have a little bit of a soft spot for Royal Enfield because, turn the indicator off. My grandfather had a Royal Enfield during World War II for a short time. So I have a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for these guys. I intend to do the top part of India and quite a lot of Asia on one of these in the near future. The gear change is beautiful. Just flip the lid down so that I can speak to you guys. Probably just needs a little bit of setup on this at the moment. The clutch doesn't grab till it's quite a long way out. But yeah, it's a lovely little bike. You definitely feel like you're sitting very high up. So we're just going to do the town portion of the bike right now. The rider triangle on this is fantastic. My knees are at about 90 degrees, which is fantastic for my bad knee. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, I got hit by a car around about 18 months, 2 years ago, and I'm still having operations on it now to fix it. And so comfort with that is paramount. I have to say, not a big fan of the wing mirrors, can't really see too much behind me, mostly getting myself out of that. I have to say, the little engine just doesn't feel like it's working. It just basically does it in its own time, its own pace. No gear indicator on this one, purely traditional. And of course there's no windshield, so you're just getting the full brunt of the wind, and I'm sure that you can get something aftermarket for that. It's quite a lot of play in that accelerator before it actually kicks in. But that transmission, bearing in mind this has only got 61 k's on the clock, that transmission is liquid smooth. It is beautiful. Combination of the play in the accelerator and the play in the clutch lever is just making it a little bit interesting to get it off the line. Playing the throttle, I should say. We're not in a car, Shane. So we're heading up to indicated 80 kilometers an hour. I have no idea what gear I'm in. But it's just putting along. It doesn't feel like it's working at all. Beautiful. That transmission, although you can feel it slipping from gear to gear, it's just so silky smooth. It's beautiful. It's I've got 2 motorcycles in my stable in town and 1 out in the country, and I'll tell you something for nothing, none of them have a transmission as smooth as this. The brakes are fantastic, they are progressive, but quite they have a good amount of bite to them. It's just cruising along at city speeds, no problems. I think this would be a beautiful commuter. Already on this, with only 3 k's on the clock, my butt feels good. It's just putting along nicely. It does have a level of vibration, but you have to understand that it's a very high frequency buzz. It's nothing too major, and it's a single cylinder. The fact that they've managed to make it as balanced as they have is a minor miracle. As soon as I drop down into that, this is the final gear. I need to count them, but that's the final gear, I think. Yeah, there's nothing more there. And as soon as you drop it down into that gear, that vibration just completely disappears out of the bike. So it's just high frequency vibration. Corners around town very nicely. Still got fresh tyres on it, so it won't be by the time we're finished with them, but for now they are. Just where that clutch is grabbing is a little bit annoying. So obviously before it actually leaves the shop floor, they'll do a bit of an adjustment on everything, make sure that it's all running tickety-boo. This is probably just how it comes out of the factory, I would think. So it's handling the speeds very, very nicely. I'm having a few problems with my GoPro right now. I am waiting on my media mod for the Hero 9. The first one was faulty, so they're getting me another one. I pray that that one's good. Gosh, I love that transmission. There's one thing that Royal Enfield does amazingly well, and that's these liquidy smooth transmissions. It's beyond buttery smooth. It is just fantastic. You can feel it clicking into gear, but there's just no resistance, there's nothing. It's beautiful. Got the little thump from the 350. I've been really excited to give this one a go because there's just very few test ride bikes in New Zealand at the moment. Suzuki's not giving any test ride bikes away, and we're not getting any test ride bikes from a lot of other people as well, so I'm a little bit stuck for trying to get new bikes for you guys to take a look at. The great thing about Royal Enfield is there just never seems to be any problem. You just go up to them and say, hey, have you got a bike? And if they've got a bike, they just let you take it out, even if it's a brand new one. They just let you take it out. Royal Cars has been absolutely amazing to me, and this is about my 4th or 5th test ride for you guys. So I'm immensely happy with their quality of service. I'm immensely happy with their generosity and their willingness to work with the person. Okay guys, we're about to hit the 80k zone. It's 80 k's, not 80 miles an hour, don't get too excited. Just going to see how we roll on that speed. Well, we're at that speed now. It just feels lovely. Tell you what, round town, as you're driving through the town, you've got it in 5th gear, and it literally, it's so buttery smooth that you actually even forget the engine's operating. It's only when you get up round, heading up to 100 now, it's only when you're heading up round the higher RPMs that you feel any vibration or anything from the engine at all, which is saying a lot for a single cylinder. If you take KTM 390 Adventure for instance, I literally felt like I was being rattled to bits on that bike. This is buttery smooth, even though we're sitting at 100 indicated now, which is probably about 90 kilometers an hour actual. It just feels absolutely lovely. I feel like it'll just sit there all day long, and I'm not at full throttle. Now this is supposed to be kind of a little bit of a go anywhere sort of a bike, go up dirt tracks and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to do that to this bike today. I don't feel that it's appropriate. So if it was a true adventure bike, I would just take it up dirt roads and things and just see how we get on, but this isn't that. This is a lovely little classic style motorcycle, and you just want to be on the road and just really just putt round. I don't even feel like I want to do, you know, super fast speeds. I feel like this is going to be fine. Now you can see that there's a hill up here with a corner on it getting down to 75 k an hour. We'll see how this goes. It's quite a high hill. We've definitely got some slowdown on that one, but it wasn't that it couldn't handle it. Tips into the corners very, very predictably. Just feels nice. So we're actually still going up a bit of a hill, and I'm tapped out on the speed right now. So I'll shift gear. Even then, this thing's not gonna get much past about 80 kilometers an hour up this hill, I don't think. But I don't feel like I want to. It's not one of those bikes that's encouraging you to go faster, go faster, go faster. It just putts along and feels like you can just enjoy the scenery and enjoy the ride. Corners, no problems whatsoever. Bike just takes it in its stride. That corner's lovely. I feel like it could handle a lot more horsepower than what it's actually got from the handling perspective. If it was me, a couple of things would happen. It's May here in New Zealand, which is winter. Well, we're almost in winter now. Next month is the official month of winter, first month of winter. And if it was up to me, oh, it's fairly accurate according to that. But if it was up to me, I'd have heated grips on here. I would have a small windshield on here. just to take that pressure off your chest and to keep your hands warm. It's around about 13 degrees at the moment here. It's supposed to get to about 15. So it looks like the speedo at 80 kilometres an hour is around about 6 kilometres an hour out. So that's not too bad for a motorbike. So now we're back up to 100k an hour. We'll see how this wee girl does. Instead of going down that road there, we're just going to continue on round on our road bike circuit. This really just does feel like a very special bike to ride. It feels like you're really giving yourself a treat by getting on something from yesteryear. But it has all the modern conveniences like fuel injection, disc brakes, and this has ABS on it as well, so you know you're going to be safe in the corners. It's pretty miserly on gas, according to the website. It's around about 3 litres per 100 k's, which is actually better than my 250, Hyosung 250, which is around about 3.9 litres per 100 k's. So in an age where fuel is expensive, this is something which you can take out on the weekends and still only spend $10 or $15 going for a fairly decent ride. Look how beautiful this is today. So if I'm honest with you, normally I do a roll-on takeover or overtake here. I don't really feel like this bike's got the guts to do it. So I'm just going to sit behind this cube and just enjoy the scenery and enjoy the ride. So when we get to the tight twisties, we'll catch back up again. At the moment, I can't describe the feeling I'm getting from this bike. I feel like I've stepped back to World War II. It makes me feel closer to my grandfather, to be honest. So it's pretty special so far. But we'll catch back up when we get to the twisties. I'll change out batteries and make sure we've got enough to be able to get us to our destination. Alright, just make sure you're recording. Yes, let's hope that it doesn't disappear overnight. So we're just about to hit the tight twisties, and I thought that I would just start the camera back up again. I had to actually change batteries. I don't know what's going on, but the batteries just seem to die very, very quickly now, even though they're relatively new batteries. So, heading into the Twisties. I'm just getting the initial feeling for it. I'll say to you that the Twisties seem to be, let's say it likes to tip in gently. It's definitely no sport bike. Rear brake works well. I'm only using the rear brake here. Rather low side than high side, so only using the rear brake. It's more than capable of getting around the corners. It's just not fast in any way, shape or form. And I think if you really wanted a fast bike, you wouldn't be looking at one of these. It's not about that. It's about getting on something that feels special. Feels kind of fun, feels nostalgic. But certainly no slouch. In the corners, but it's not a rocket ship, you know. You know, probably my Hyosung's probably a bit quicker in the corners than this, but it just doesn't feel like it matters. It's just such a pretty little bike and just feels so neat when you look down here, and it just looks like something out of the 1940s. And I'm sure they got plastics and things like that in it. Sure, it's not all steel like it once would have been, but it just makes it lighter and makes it more capable than what it used to be. The motor is a lot smoother than anything that you would have gotten back in those days because it's got a counterbalancer in it. Do you need any more power? No. Would you like more power? Yeah. Yeah, this isn't a primary bike. This is I'm going down to the shops, love. Jump on your bike and head down to the shop. Maybe head down to a cafe with your darling on the back. This isn't a rocket ship to take you places quickly. I could happily putt round the country on this, I think. I don't think there'd be any issues whatsoever for me. I wouldn't get there fast, but I'd get there. And when you're on a motorcycle, you've got to wonder, what is it that you're actually getting the motorcycle for? Are you getting it to get you from point A to point B quickly, or are you getting it to be able to experience the journey? And for me, it's about experiencing the journey. I ride motorcycles pretty much every day. Anytime that I'm going somewhere or doing something, unless I'm doing it with my beautiful wife, I do it on a motorcycle. I don't drive cars if I can help it, and at the moment I'm not even allowed to drive a car because of my knee. So I want something where this would be to the shops, this would be to the cafe, or doing this particular road. This would be the bike that I would use to go and do it. If I wanted to go somewhere quickly, I'd probably jump on my V-Strom and I'd go to wherever I was going and I would get there relatively quickly. But that's not what this is about. It's about going anywhere and everywhere with a minimum of fuss, minimum of maintenance, and a well-proven design, but that when you get on it, it feels special, that it feels like it's something which you have inherited from generations past, but without having to worry about trying to find parts, without having to worry about, oh, that carburetor's not working properly, I've got to go and rebuild it, or rattling you to bits at 70 kilometres an hour. It's perfectly smooth, a little bit of high frequency when you get to higher rev range, but as it is at the moment, you know, I'm tootling around at 90 to 100 kilometres an hour. I don't feel like I need to go any faster. I don't feel like I need to, I don't feel like it's lacking until I hit a hill, and then it struggles a little bit, but it kind of makes you smile when it does that. I'm actually really surprised because I didn't think I was going to like this as much as I like my Hyosung cruiser bike, but I do. I might like it more. I might like it more. That could be an issue. How does this sound? Well, darling, I took it out for a ride and I got back and they asked me what I thought of it, and I said that I thought it was alright. And then they just offered me this amazing deal that I just couldn't refuse. You think she'll buy it? That clutch does need to be adjusted though. It's not grabbing till it's almost all the way out, and that's not the bike's fault. See, I can see a police officer and just putt past him because I know I'm not going to be breaking the speed limit. So yeah, but that clutch does need to be adjusted. It's about the only thing that I'm not enjoying on it. And it is just an adjustment, it's not the clutch itself. Just an adjustment. Such a lovely little bike. If I could only have one bike in my stable, would it be this one? No, probably not. But would it be a bike in my stable? I think it's going to have to be. I've got a house I need to sell, and once that sells, I think this is on the agenda. Te uku. Look at our lovely free energy wind farm up there at the moment, doing its thing. Very, very light winds today, Some of them are going, some of them aren't. Roadworks. Let's see this thing accelerate to 100. Oh, there it is. What is this dude doing? Okay, we just had 100 kilometers. Whoop. So for me, I think, because I ride all the time, and even when I used to drive cars every day, it became about what does this vehicle make me feel like? How do I feel when I drive it? Does it make me feel excited? Does it make me feel bored? Does it make me feel sleepy? That's a really important one, because I drive in my job thousands and thousands of kilometers every week, and if you're sitting in a car which is really unexciting, really boring to drive, it can make you feel quite sleepy. But there's a bit of a hill here. Have to get out the riding crop and give her a bit of a smack on the bum. It really does feel like she's ringing out here. And this just makes me smile. I'd own one just for the sake of owning one. But for me, in this environment, I think with a few modifications, it would be my 1 hour ride. If I was going to go out for a ride for an hour, this would be it. However, if I was going to be doing a big trip, I'd be definitely looking at a more modern bike with more modern creature comforts. When I say modern, this is a modern bike. It's a 2022. It's modern, but it doesn't have the modern creature comforts on it. It doesn't have modern speed on it. But when I just wanted to go for a little ride and just really enjoy myself, this would be it. It's funny when you progress through this journey of riding motorcycles, because that corner I just did almost killed me the first time I went round it. It's an opposite camber corner. It was a nice day like it is today. A bit warmer. And I just about rode off the road because I didn't know what I was doing. And now I go round it and it doesn't feel like it's anything at all. Okay, so this is it, guys. This is the Classic 350. This is the cheapest model that they do with the alloy rims. Final thoughts and impressions. I'll try and compose myself so that I can give a decisive opinion on it. It is a beautiful little bike to look at. It's a fun little bike to ride. It's not going to rip your arms off. It's not going to be intimidating in any way, shape or form. I would say that somebody who has never ridden a motorcycle before, this would probably be the motorcycle I would recommend that they try first. The nostalgia that it brings with the modern touches, ABS, bi-brake brakes, fuel injection, all of these kinds of bits and pieces that this bike actually brings give you a sense of nostalgia. It puts a smile on your face whenever you look at the bike. Those are probably the biggest pros to this bike. Even the little Happy Thumper 350, that's probably the biggest pro to this bike, is just how it makes you feel when it's running. Now, the cons to this bike, it's going to struggle to do 100 kilometers an hour up hills. That's 60 mile an hour. Well, it's actually 63 mile an hour. So it's going to struggle to do that kind of thing. Even when you click it down a gear, you're going to be ringing it out to be able to try and get 100 kilometers an hour out of it on the hills. You'll sit pretty consistently, and I did all the way out here at around about 90 kilometers an hour up most of the hills, and I can't really think of any hill that I would do where it would slow down too much more than that, provided that you had a good run up to it and that you didn't stuff anything up in a corner or whatever as you were exiting and heading up the hill. The next con to it would probably be just that it has a little bit of vibration at those higher RPMs, but in saying that, it's only at the higher RPMs and it's not really super intrusive. The suspension works really well. I've heard some reviews, or I've seen some reviews that have said that suspension's not very good, but that hasn't been the case for me. I've found that it is at least as good as my Hyosung Aquila GV250, if not better than that bike. The other aspects to this bike, it's an incredibly comfortable seat. These tank grips on the side here work brilliantly. I don't know what they're made of, but they work brilliantly, and they actually encourage you to grip the tank as you're heading around the corners, which is brilliant for a new rider. The back and the front brakes work very, very well. There's not really anything apart from that clutch and a little bit too much play in the accelerator itself. Other than that, there's nothing on this bike that I actually didn't like. It's the power level is nothing extraordinary. It's a lot less than what I'm used to, in fact, but it doesn't feel like a bike that you really want to ring out all the time. You just kind of want to putt round, and different bikes make you feel different ways, and this particular bike just made me feel like I just wanted to go for a bit of a putt. It didn't make me feel like I wanted to scream off down the road. So it's a very safe bike. If you are going to use this as your first bike, I think fantastic. these hold their value as well. So if you decided to get rid of it at the end, you could. Otherwise, you can put it in your stable, buy a faster bike, but still use this to be able to go around to the shops and things like that. In the 60 or 70 kilometres that I've ridden it so far, I honestly, I can't think of a single thing that I could complain about. So that's really it. This beautiful bike is up for sale at Royal Cars. They have a range of different versions of this and different models, from the lowest spec to the highest spec. If it was me, I would go for the high spec version and go and get the wire spoke wheels. It's only going to cost you for everything on the extra versions, only costs you like about an extra $1,000 New Zealand dollars, about 600 US. So then it's not expensive, so I would just go straight to the most premium option. I probably would put in to be able to go and get the tripper navigation. I think that would be a really cool little addition to this bike, and it will extend the usefulness and the range of the bike for the things that you want to do with it. You'll be able to go out and go for a bit more of a longer jaunt around the place. And also, when you're commuting around town, I don't know every street in my city. There's 200,000 people that live there, so it's just really good just to have something sitting on the dash to be able to tell you where you want to go and what you want to do. It doesn't have anywhere to mount your phone or anything like that. I'm sure that you could probably put something in, but with that tripper navigation, you could just put your phone in your pocket and away you go. From memory, I haven't actually looked at this. From memory, they said that there was a USB port tucked in somewhere, but I can't see it at the moment. So it may or may not, it may or may not have that. So at any rate, guys, that's the test ride. That's my personal thoughts and opinions on this little bike. If you're buying it, you're not buying it for speed, you're buying it for that nostalgic feel and to put a smile on your face. It's going to be a wonderful bike for somebody to test ride. Royal Enfield, well proven motors, well proven everything on these things now, good backup service and support. You're not going to go wrong with it. And the only things that I can really pick out on it that I didn't like really were just things that the workshop can alter for you before you actually purchase it. Other than that, it's an extremely well put together bike. So well done, Royal Enfield. Thank you to Royal Cars and Motorcycles for allowing me to take this out for a ride. I think as soon as I've sold my development property, this is going to be probably in my stable. I'm going to need to find a place to put my bikes because I can't fit more than 2 in my garage at the moment. So at any rate, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. I really need some more subscribers, so if you're even mildly interested in the motorcycles or the views that I have to be able to provide for you, please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers. God bless.